lips, tongue, genitals, and feet and toes. So there's a lot of sensory tactile receptors coming from those areas and mapped to the brain where you perceive that tactile information. So you have a lot of sensory receptors in your tongue, in your mouth, in your lips. So it's very, very sensitive area. Just like your fingers we have opposable thumbs, we use our hands, right? We're dexterous, we use tools, we build stuff. We have to be real sensitive in those areas. And we speak, we're social creatures, we do a lot of talking. So there's a lot of sensory receptors there. This is that famous photographer. He actually died a couple years ago, but he got this, everybody thinks this was a couple and they were reunited after the war. Actually, there was nurses just there at the parade, and he just picked some random nurse, dipped her, and like planted a big kiss on her, and someone got a really cool series of photos from it, but it's a famous one. Kissing releases important feel-good hormones and neurotransmitters. So regardless of whether kissing is done in a culture or not, here in the United States, it's very prevalent. It's a big part of the human sexual response experience. Matter of fact, it goes hand in hand with it, the kissing aspect. It releases hormones that make you feel good. They actually cause a surge of euphoria. It may help create and maintain bonds. Chemicals transferred during kissing might be involved in attraction, so you're picking up chemical messengers from the other individual. This is a little question. Even if you're attracted, if a first kiss is really bad, what's going to happen? May not have another one. That might be it. Now people are like, well, there's a learning curve. Some people believe, they have a lot of different views on this. And some people think, certain people kiss certain ways and they just line up. It's like teaching somebody to do something that they normally don't do a certain way. So sometimes people are more forgiving with this, sometimes people are not. But it is an element to attraction. Okay? It's an element to attraction and this other response. Theories of mate selection also line up with kissing. How people line up in their kissing and using kissing for sort of part of that aspect of attraction. So the neurotransmitters, what are they? Dopamine. This is in the cortex of the brain and the midbrain. It's involved in pleasure and motivation. Dopamine is actually released with lots of different drugs, like opioids, right? Like heroin, cocaine, all those things. You get a surge of dopamine. Pretty much the same with just a kiss. Okay? Endorphins are also released. These cause feelings of euphoria, excitedness, good feelings. They're all actually pain relievers as well. They help to block pain sensations that are coming to the brain. This happens also when you run for a really long time. Not for everybody, and a lot of times not for me. But in general, you hear the runner's high, they're having a release of these. They're having the release of those, and they're like, I feel good, I could run forever. Okay, it's a little similar. Phenylethylamine, this is released by the brain. It causes positive mood and kind of happiness. It's also involved in attention. Notice that this is in chocolate.
Yep. Oh my God.
You're like, oh, that's me. Okay, people can be addicted to chocolate, and there's actually a positive enhancement of mood and attention taking in certain amounts of chocolate. Okay, so that's a factor there. Epinephrine, norepinephrine, remember talking about these? Yes? These are released by the adrenal gland, the adrenal medulla, part of the sympathetic nervous system. When those get released, you're activating the sympathetic nervous system, which I will say, I'm going to talk about this more later. Sympathetic nervous system is responsible for the 4 F's. Do you know the 4 F's? Fight, flight, freeze, and F. Like the bad word F, the F we're talking about right here. That's the 4 F's. You can say fight, flight, fright, like you're scared, or freeze, either one, and F, the F word. Okay, that's what the sympathetic nervous system does. And it causes, you know this already, if you kiss and you're excited, whatever, your heart rate speeds up, blood is sent to your muscles, blood is sent to your genitals. Like it starts that fight or flight, sort of that response of these epinephrine, norepinephrine hormones. Also, oxytocin, and I remember Giroux presented on this about talking about stress.
Oxytocin.
Hugging. Oxytocin coming from the hypothalamus, released by the posterior pituitary. That increases feelings of connectedness, happiness, attachment, bonding. When you kiss